Hey there, I'm Shay. Welcome to the Pottery Workshop. I really love it here. It's such a great place to be creative and mold clay like this into something like this. Cute, right? See, I've been learning a lot about how to mold clay, and sometimes my projects turn out really well, like this mug. I just love it. Sometimes they turn out really wonky. Pottery is just hard to get right, and I can get upset when I mess it up. Sometimes I wonder if I even have the talent to work with clay. Maybe you've tried something and thought, am I good enough, smart enough, or even able to do this? Well, the good news is God knows our thoughts, and He cares about what you're thinking. Here, come with me. When I think I'm not good enough, I know I can find the truth in the Bible, because it's God's true message to us about Himself. Let's read about a man named Moses, who was given a very important job by God. See, God's people, the Israelites, were suffering as slaves in the land of Egypt. Even though Moses was an Israelite, at the beginning of this story, he was living in a different land. Let's see how God spoke to Moses in an amazing way. God called Moses. There was an Israelite man named Moses, who was a shepherd in a land called Midian. One day, Moses took his flock of sheep to the wilderness and came to a place called Horeb, which was the mountain of God. The angel of the Lord appeared to Moses in an amazing way. Moses looked at a bush that was on fire, but the bush wasn't burning up. So Moses thought, I must go over and look at this remarkable sight. Why isn't the bush burning up? When the Lord saw that Moses went to the bush to look at it, God called out to him from the burning bush. God said, Moses, Moses. Here I am, Moses answered. Do not come any closer, God said. Remove your sandals from your feet, for the place you are standing is holy ground. God continued speaking. I am the God of your ancestors. Moses hid his face because he was afraid to look at God. Then the Lord said, I have observed the suffering of my people in Egypt and have heard them crying out because of their situation. I know about their suffering and have come to rescue them. I am going to bring them to a good and spacious land flowing with milk and honey. He told Moses, Go, I am sending you to Pharaoh so that you may lead my people, the Israelites, out of Egypt. But Moses doubted and asked God, Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh or bring the Israelites out of Egypt? Okay, let's stop for a minute. The Bible says God showed His power to Moses by speaking through a burning bush. Moses was afraid and didn't think he could do the job that God asked him to do. You see, Moses knew how powerful the Pharaoh in Egypt was, and Moses didn't think he was good enough or brave enough or spoke well enough to do what God was telling him to do. But God knew Moses' thoughts. So let's see what happened next.
God answered Moses, I will certainly be with you. You will bring my people out of Egypt, and you will all worship me here at this mountain. But Moses still doubted and asked God, If I go to the Israelites and tell them the God of their ancestors sent me, and they ask me, What is his name? What should I tell them? God replied to Moses, I am who I am. This is what you are to say to the Israelites. I am has sent me to you.
That's a big answer to Moses' question, right? But God knew what Moses was thinking. The Bible says in Psalm 139 that God understands our thoughts from far away. This means God knew what Moses thought, and He promised to be with him. Moses may have felt scared about talking to Pharaoh, but because God was with Moses, he didn't have to be afraid or feel like he wasn't enough, because God is enough. Sometimes we feel like we aren't good enough, smart enough, or able to do something. We have these broken thoughts because of sin. Sin is when we choose to do what we think is best instead of following what God says is best. And because of sin, even our thoughts can be broken and untrue.
But this isn't what God planned for us, because God is perfect and able to repair our brokenness. God sent his son Jesus to take the punishment that we deserve for our sin so that we could be made new. When we trust in Jesus and choose to follow him, we realize that God is enough. Do you remember what God said when Moses was feeling unsure of himself? He didn't say, I might be with you, or I'll be with you if it works out. No, God said, I will certainly be with you. So next time you notice broken thoughts creeping in or you're unsure of yourself, remember that God knows your thoughts. You can trust and believe him because God promises to be with you through everything. Okay, I'm feeling inspired again. I think I'll make something as cute as this. Ooh, or maybe this. Maybe both. See you later.